my teacher said I need to learn this list of 100 verbs or I will never learn English. Well, in my book, that's bullshit. That's right, kids. Say what? Hello everyone and welcome back to a new episode of Say What? On the expression of today, in my book. Let's start. Okay, the expression of today is, I don't think there is any difficulty in understanding the literal meaning of the expression. So today we are going to focus only on the figurative meaning, on the use we are going to give. The expression is in my book. So literally it means what is in my book, the content of my book. So let's take a look at an example and let's say that this book that I have here, this strange book, you see, it says Hobbies for Pleasure and Profit. That is one strange book. But let's suppose that this book was written by me. I am the author of this book, Hobbies and Pleasure for Profit. If I am the author of this book, this means that here you are going to find my opinions, my knowledge, what I think about something, what I think about hobbies and pleasures for profit. I am not going to write here the ideas of other people. I am going to write here my ideas, my opinion. So all the content of this book represents who I am, what I think about something. And that is exactly what this expression means. In my book means in my opinion. What I think about the subject is this, in my book. This is something very similar to the expression my 2 cents, with the only difference that my 2 cents, we said, is trying not to be very pretentious. It's trying to be humble. Well, I'll give you my 2 cents, my humble opinion. In my book, on the other hand, is just saying, this is what I think, here you have it. It's in my book. Okay? So somebody could, for example, tell you that Led Zeppelin was the biggest band ever in the world. So it's the best band, they made the best albums, they are the best musicians. And you can say, well, that's your opinion, but in my book, the Beatles are the best band ever, which is true. And well, that is just one example, but there are many situations where you can say, okay, but in my book, this is it. In my book, here. The Grammys just happened just the other day, and Taylor Swift won an award. So you could say, well, her album was good, but in my book, this was a better option. In my book, she didn't deserve it. In my book, there are other albums that are better, etc. In my book. So that is only your opinion. Your opinion is not gonna change anything. The awards are finished, but you say, she won in my book, she didn't deserve it. Okay, and now the reason why I decided to explain this expression to you today. Let's look at the example in the beginning. So we have this kid, this boy who is troubled because he needs to learn a list of 100 verbs in English for tomorrow. And his teacher said, if you don't learn these verbs, you will never learn English. So he's very worried. You can see it in his face, in his eyes. He's very worried. And he tells this to his friend, and his friend says, well, in my book, that's bullshit. Bullshit. So that is not true. That is just a bunch of lies. That makes no sense. That is bullshit. And he says, in my book, that is bullshit. So he's saying, your teacher has an opinion about learning verbs, but I have a different one, and in my book, your teacher's opinion is bullshit. And that is exactly what's in my book too. In my book, learning lists of verbs is not useful at all. So I will just give you an example and you tell me if it's true or not. Every time that you want to use a verb, you need to think on the three forms of the verbs. So you think do, did, done, forget, forgot, forgotten, go, went, gone, because you learned a list and you had the verb in Spanish or the meaning, and then you have the three tenses of the verb. And every time you want to use it, you think on those three verbs and you say, oh, the other day I went to the store and I hadn't gone in 3 weeks. So this is just not natural. You are learning groups of words that don't mean anything and you need to learn them organically. You need to acquire them and not to learn them. So maybe you said, okay, so it's important that I learn these words naturally, not in lists. But how do I do it? Well, these conjugations of the verbs are going to appear once you start listening and reading. For example, I can just give you an example of a sentence that includes the three forms of the verb do. The little girl said, I don't know what to do now. Her mother said, it doesn't matter. You already did it. And what's done, it's done. In this short sentence, we are seeing the three forms of the verb, but we are seeing them order in time. I don't know what to do now. Well, it doesn't matter. You already did it in the past, and what it's done, it's done. It's finished. It's completed. So when you see verbs in a way like this, you are not seeing them just as structures, just as words, and they are making more sense. And that is why in my book, learning lists of verbs is now it's not useful. And if somebody tells you that if you don't learn these verbs, you will never learn English, in my book, that is bullshit. Okay, so that is how we are going to end the episode of today. Expression, very simple, very short. In my book, my opinion is. I will see you tomorrow for a new episode of My 2 Cents, where I will tell you what is in my book about classes and learning. So I will see you tomorrow. Don't forget to like this video, leave me a comment, share it, and subscribe to the channel. I'll see you tomorrow and keep it simple.